am I? This question, a simple arrangement of 3 words, has resonated across centuries, cultures, and philosophies. It is a question that is deceptively simple, yet endlessly profound. Who am I? Am I this body that breathes and moves, this voice that speaks and laughs? Am I my thoughts and memories, a collection of experiences and ideas? Or am I something deeper, something beyond what I perceive in my day-to-day life? Perhaps you've asked this question in quiet moments of reflection. Perhaps it surfaced during times of doubt, loss, or profound change. It may have appeared as a whisper, a fleeting thought as you gazed into a mirror, wondering who stared back. Or it may have struck you with the force of an epiphany, shaking the very foundations of what you thought you knew about yourself. The truth is, no matter how often we ask, the answer remains elusive. And perhaps that's the point. Not to find a definitive answer, but to keep asking, to keep searching, to see how far this question can take us into the depths of reality, time, and existence itself. To begin our journey, let's start where most of us live, on the surface of reality. Here, life is defined by its tangible elements: work, relationships, the need to eat, sleep, and breathe. This surface world is where we pay taxes, raise families, and chase ambitions. It feels solid, predictable, measurable. And yet, even here, cracks appear. We feel moments slipping through our fingers, gone before we can fully grasp them. We find ourselves staring at a sunset or holding the hand of a loved one and suddenly realize this moment is fleeting. No matter how much we want to hold on to it, it will pass. Life, at its core, seems to be a series of fleeting moments. But what are these moments? Are they simply events, like bricks in the house of our existence? Or do they hold some deeper truth about who we are? And if moments pass so quickly, what remains? This surface reality, so rich with color, sound, and sensation, is not the full picture. Like the tip of an iceberg, it conceals layers beneath, layers that shape and sustain what we experience on the surface. To illustrate this, imagine a whale. The whale must surface to breathe, to draw in the oxygen it needs to survive. But the surface is not its home. Its true existence lies in the depths of the ocean, where it swims, feeds, and thrives. The whale's brief visits to the surface are necessary interruptions in a life spent mostly in the unseen, mysterious depths. What if our reality works the same way? What if our waking life, the surface reality, is just one layer of a much deeper existence? What if who we are lies not in the fleeting moments we experience here, but in the layers beneath them? As we journey deeper, we must also confront the concept of time. On the surface, time feels linear and relentless, a constant drumbeat that propels us forward. But in the layers beneath, in dreams, in memories, and perhaps beyond life itself, time seems to behave differently. It stretches, bends, even dissolves. We'll explore this paradox of time. Why does it rule our surface reality yet fade away in dreams? What does this tell us about the nature of our consciousness? And if time doesn't exist in these deeper layers, what does that say about the boundaries of life and death? Reality as we know it is framed by birth and death. We enter this world crying, gasping for air, and leave it in silence. In between, we live, we learn, we love, we dream. But what lies beyond these boundaries? What if birth and death are not the beginning and end of existence, but merely the doorways to another state, one that is timeless, eternal, and far beyond our surface understanding? What if the moments we experience in reality are like breaths the whale takes at the surface? Brief, necessary, but not the center of our existence. What if dreams are glimpses of this timeless state, a return to the depths where our true essence resides? What if reality itself is the interruption, a brief episode in a far greater eternal normality, an invitation to wonder. This audiobook is not an attempt to answer these questions definitively. Instead, it is an invitation to wonder, to explore, to descend into the layers of existence and see what we find. Together, we will move through the surface reality, the realms of dreams, the mysteries of time, and the profound questions of life and death. We'll draw on philosophy, science, and the power of metaphor to illuminate the path. So as we begin, I ask you to keep an open mind and heart. Suspend what you think you know about yourself and let the question, "Who am I?" guide you. Let it be the light that illuminates the layers of your existence one by one as we journey into the depths together. Take a deep breath. Let's begin. Reality is where we begin. It greets us the moment we wake, the familiar rhythm of the day taking hold. The alarm clock buzzes, sunlight streams through the window, and the demands of the world press gently or forcefully against us. It is a world of responsibilities, routines, and sensations, a place where we must breathe, eat, and work to sustain ourselves. This is the surface, the top layer of our existence, where most of us live our lives. And yet, it is also a paradox. For all its solidity and predictability, reality is strangely fleeting. Each moment, no matter how vivid or mundane, slips through our grasp almost as soon as we notice it. A laugh, a conversation, the first sip of coffee, gone. We live in a constant flow of now, a series of moments that vanish as quickly as they arise. But what is this reality we inhabit? Is it the totality of who we are, or just the surface of something much deeper? To understand the nature of reality, let's start with its function. Much like the whale surfacing to breathe, our physical existence relies on certain necessities: food, water, oxygen, sleep. Reality gives us these things. It is the platform where our bodies interact with the world and find the resources they need to sustain life. Without it, we would perish. But reality is more than just survival. It is the stage for everything we feel, learn, and experience. It is where we encounter joy and sorrow, love and loss, triumph and failure. Every bite of food, every conversation, every sunset leaves its imprint on us. These moments, fleeting as they may be, are the building blocks of our identity. Metaphorically speaking, reality is like a sandwich. Each moment is a bite, nourishing us, sustaining us, and adding to the composition of who we are. But the sandwich is finite. Once eaten, it's gone. We may recreate it with new ingredients, new experiences, but no two sandwiches are ever exactly the same. The moments that pass through our lives are unique, irreplaceable, and, in a very real sense, sacred. Pause for a moment and think about the last time you felt truly present. Perhaps it was a quiet evening, a meaningful conversation, or a fleeting glimpse of beauty, a bird landing on a branch, a child's laughter. How long did that moment last? Could you hold on to it, or did it pass, leaving only the faint memory of how it made you feel? Reality is like that. It's a river of moments, constantly flowing. We can dip our hands in, feel the coolness of the water, but we cannot stop it or contain it. As soon as we try, it moves on, leaving us with nothing but wet hands and the memory of what it was. The ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus famously said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." This is the nature of reality, always changing, always moving, always just beyond our grasp. If reality is so fleeting, what does it say about who we are? Are we defined by the moments we live through, or is there something more enduring beneath the surface? In other words, if reality is the sandwich, are we simply the eater, consuming moment after moment? Or are we the stomach that digests those moments, transforming them into the energy and essence of the self? Modern psychology offers one perspective. According to cognitive theories, the self is a collection of memories, perceptions, and habits. In this view, we are the sum of what we have experienced, a patchwork quilt stitched together by the threads of reality. But philosophers like Immanuel Kant suggest something deeper. Kant believed that reality is not something we perceive directly, but something our minds construct. The world we see, hear, and touch is filtered through the categories of understanding, concepts like time, space, and causality. These categories shape how we perceive reality, but they are not necessarily reality itself. In Kant's view, the self is not just a collection of moments, but the very thing that organizes and makes sense of them. And yet, for all its structure and solidity, reality often reveals its cracks. Think of a time when the world didn't seem as real as it should have. A déjà vu, a strange coincidence, or a dream so vivid it felt indistinguishable from waking life. These cracks in the surface hint that reality might not be as solid or singular as it appears. Modern science offers its own cracks in the surface. Cognitive neuroscience, for example, shows us how our brains can be fooled. Optical illusions, false memories, and hallucinations remind us that reality, as we perceive it, is not always reliable. And then there's quantum mechanics, a field that challenges our very understanding of how the world works. At the quantum level, particles can exist in multiple states at once, defying the logic of the macroscopic world. Is reality then something fixed and absolute, or is it a projection, a construct, a shared illusion? For now, let's consider reality as the top layer of a much deeper existence. Like the surface of the ocean, it is where we live, breathe, and interact with the world. It is necessary, even vital, but it is not the whole story. Beneath the surface lie layers of consciousness and being that shape and sustain what we experience here. Reality is the sandwich we eat, the air we breathe, the river we wade into. It is fleeting, beautiful, and essential. But it is also just the beginning of the journey. To truly answer the question, who am I? We must dive deeper. We must descend below the surface and explore the layers beneath. Take a deep breath. The surface is only the start. Let's see where the current takes us next. Why do we sleep? It's a question as old as consciousness itself. Sleep seems, on the surface, like a great inefficiency, a vulnerable state where the body is still and the mind drifts into uncharted realms. And yet, we cannot live without it. Deprived of sleep, our minds falter, our bodies weaken, and reality itself begins to dissolve into chaos. But what is sleep, truly? Is it merely a period of rest, or does it serve a deeper purpose? What happens to us when we close our eyes and step away from the waking world? Sleep is not just a necessity, it is a gateway, a portal through which we descend into the layers of our consciousness, exploring realms where time bends, logic falters, and the impossible becomes vividly real. It is a place where the mind whispers truths it cannot speak aloud, where reality loosens its grip, and something deeper begins to take hold. At its most basic level, sleep is a biological imperative. It allows the body to repair itself, consolidates memories, and regulates emotions. Neuroscientists have mapped the stages of sleep from the light doze of NREM, non-rapid eye movement, sleep, to the vivid dreamscapes of REM, rapid eye movement, sleep. Each stage serves a distinct purpose, from physical restoration to mental processing. But sleep is not just about the body, it's about the mind. During REM sleep, the brain becomes a storyteller, weaving fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination into the tapestry of dreams. It is here in the dream state that the boundaries between reality and imagination blur. The brain creates worlds, replays fears, and rehearses scenarios. Dreams, in this sense, are more than fleeting illusions. They are reflections of the subconscious, a mirror held up to the soul. Imagine a house. During the day, you live in the brightly lit rooms of the upper floors, the living room, the kitchen, the office. These are the spaces of waking life, where everything is clear, structured, and purposeful. But at night, as you fall asleep, you descend the staircase into the lower levels of the house. The lights dim, the walls blur, and the rules of the upper floors no longer apply. You are in the basement now, the cellar of your mind, where forgotten things are stored and mysteries linger. Dreams are like wandering through this cellar. At first, the descent may feel strange or even unsettling. You might find broken lights, cobwebbed corners, or unexpected objects, a mix of the familiar and the unknown. But as you explore, you discover treasures, old memories, unspoken desires, fragments of wisdom. The cellar, for all its shadows, is not a place to fear, but a realm to embrace. Philosopher Carl Jung believed that dreams connect us to the collective unconscious, a shared layer of human experience filled with archetypes and symbols. In Jung's view, dreams are not just personal, but universal, offering insights that transcend the individual self. To dream is to swim in the ocean of humanity's shared psyche, a journey to the depths where the currents of history and myth converge. One of the most striking features of dreams is their relationship with time, or rather, their lack of one. In dreams, time bends and twists, defying the orderly progression we experience in waking life. A single dream might span years or unfold in an instant. Events happen out of sequence, memories blend with imagination, and the concept of now becomes fluid. This timeless quality of dreams raises profound questions about the nature of time itself. Is time, as we experience it, merely a construct of the waking mind? Neuroscientists have found that the brain processes time differently in dreams, creating a subjective experience untethered from the external world. Philosophers, too, have pondered this mystery. In his book, Being and Time, Martin Heidegger suggests that time is not a fixed dimension but a relationship, something that exists only because we perceive it. Dreams, then, might offer a glimpse into a state of existence where time is not the master but the servant, where moments flow like water and the boundaries of past, present, and future dissolve. But why do we dream? What purpose do these nightly journeys serve? Freud believed dreams were a form of wish fulfillment, a way for the subconscious to express desires repressed in waking life. Jung, as we've seen, viewed dreams as a connection to deeper truths. Modern neuroscience suggests dreams help us process emotions, solve problems, and prepare for challenges. But perhaps dreams are something more. To understand this possibility, let us consider the quantum realm. The smallest particles of our universe, the building blocks of matter and energy, operate in ways that defy common sense. In the quantum world, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, shifting only when observed. Cause and effect seem to lose their rigid order, and time itself begins to blur. What does this mean for us? Quite simply, everything we see and touch, our bodies, our homes, the food we eat, is constructed from particles that emerge from this quantum fabric. It is the foundation of our reality, the bedrock from which everything we perceive arises. And if this quantum foundation is shared by all things, stars, stones, oceans, and organisms, it suggests an interconnectedness that transcends the physical. Dreams may be a way for us to touch this deeper foundation. In dreams, the boundaries of the physical world dissolve, and we experience a reality unbound by time and space. Could this be because our consciousness is temporarily untethered from the surface layer of reality, free to explore the quantum realm that underlies it all? If the quantum world is the foundation of existence, then perhaps our dream state offers glimpses of this deeper interconnectedness, a state where the self is not separate but part of a greater whole. I know, this might feel like an exercise in intellectual hot yoga, but stay with me for a moment and consider our whale. After surfacing to breathe, the whale has the oxygen it needs to retreat to its true world, the deep ocean. Down there it explores what is truly its domain, the currents, the depths, the food, and the endless mystery of the water. Reality, in this sense, is the whale's surface, a place it must visit to sustain itself, but not where it truly belongs. Could dreams be our own retreat to the depths, a return to the timeless, boundless foundation of who we really are? Perhaps the dream world is where we explore what is truly ours. Sleep and dreams, then, are not merely functions of biology or tricks of the mind. They are journeys into the unknown, explorations of the layers beneath reality. They remind us that we are more than our waking selves, more than the routines and responsibilities of surface life. In dreams, we encounter fragments of a deeper truth, an interconnectedness that links us to the universe itself. Take a moment to reflect on your last dream. Was it a disjointed series of images, or did it carry a thread of meaning, however faint? What truths might it have whispered about the nature of reality? And how might these whispers lead us deeper still into the layers of who we are? Time defines us, yet it eludes us. We live by its rhythm, measure our lives in its increments, and structure our reality around its flow. And yet time is not as simple or as absolute as it seems. On the surface, time feels steady, like the ticking of a clock. But as we descend into the layers of existence, its grip loosens. Dreams, memories, and even the quantum realm reveal a world where time twists, stretches, or disappears entirely. What is time? Is it an unyielding force, a mere construct of the mind, or something even stranger? Let us explore this paradox and see what it reveals about the nature of reality and, ultimately, ourselves. In the waking world, time feels linear. We experience it as a sequence of moments, one following another in orderly progression. We wake, we work, we rest. The sun rises and sets. We age. Time moves forward, never backward. This linearity gives structure to our lives, anchoring us in the present while connecting us to the past and future. Yet, even here on the surface, cracks appear. Have you ever noticed how time seems to stretch during moments of anticipation or crisis, only to fly by when we're enjoying ourselves? A joyful afternoon with friends may vanish in what feels like seconds, while waiting for news can make a minute feel like an eternity. This elasticity of time hints that it is not as rigid as it appears. Psychologists tell us that our perception of time is shaped by our emotions, attention, and memories. Neurologists point to the brain's internal clock, which can speed up or slow down depending on context. But what if time itself is not fixed? What if its apparent flow is just a construct of our minds, a way of organizing the chaos of existence? If time on the surface feels elastic, in dreams it becomes unrecognizable. In a single dream, you might live through years or experience events out of sequence. A memory from childhood might blend with a fantasy of the future, collapsing decades into a single fleeting moment. In dreams, there is no clock, no sunrise or sunset, only a timeless now that stretches and shifts unpredictably. This dreamlike timelessness challenges our understanding of reality. If time is such a fundamental part of our waking lives, why does it dissolve so easily in the dream state? Neuroscientists suggest that during dreams, the brain's temporal lobe, the region responsible for processing time, functions differently, allowing for a fluid and subjective experience of time. But this raises a deeper question. If time in dreams is an illusion, could the same be true of time in waking life? Is the linear flow of past, present, and future merely a projection of the mind, a tool for navigating the surface layer of reality? And if so, what lies beneath this projection? What if our perception of time is like watching shadows dance on the wall of a cave? Plato described this idea centuries ago. Imagine prisoners chained in a cave, unable to see the fire and objects behind them that cast the shadows on the wall. To the prisoners, the shadows are the entirety of reality. They shape their understanding of the world, yet these shadows are only fragments, distorted projections of the fuller truth that exists beyond their limited perspective. Time, as we experience it, might be like these shadows. We see its passing as a steady, linear flow, a sequence of moments that move from past to future. But what if this perception is only a projection, a flattened version of a deeper, multidimensional reality? Like the prisoners in Plato's cave, we might be mistaking the shadow for the source. To push this metaphor further, consider a more modern example. A sphere made of interconnected polygons. This three-dimensional shape, when illuminated, casts a shadow on the floor below, a circular mandala. The mandala, though intricate and beautiful, is only a two-dimensional interpretation of the sphere. Its patterns and shapes might suggest a greater structure, but they cannot fully reveal the nature of the sphere itself. When we look at time in our everyday lives, we may be observing the mandala, a two-dimensional shadow of something much more complex. Our attempts to understand time's nature, to decompile its meaning from the patterns we see, might lead us to a deeper truth. But without the perspective of higher dimensions, we can only grasp hints and glimpses, like shadows on a cave wall. To answer these questions, we must turn to physics, where time takes on a more enigmatic role. In the physical world, time is often linked to entropy, the measure of disorder in a system. According to the second law of thermodynamics, entropy always increases in a closed system, creating the arrow of time that gives direction to the flow of events. In this view, time is not an independent force, but a consequence of the universe's tendency toward disorder. A broken glass cannot unbreak. Smoke cannot return to the cigarette. The past is fixed, the future uncertain. This arrow of time gives us the sense of forward movement that defines our reality. But even this scientific understanding has its limits. At the quantum level, the laws of physics are time symmetric, meaning they work the same whether time flows forward or backward. In the quantum realm, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, blurring the distinction between past and future. Here, time seems less like a line and more like a tangled web, a concept as elusive as it is profound. Let us return to the whale. At the surface, time is a constant companion. The whale must breathe at regular intervals, rising to meet the rhythm of the waves and the light of the sun. But beneath the surface, in the depths of the ocean, time fades. Down there, where the whale truly belongs, the currents move slowly and the cycles of life unfold in their own mysterious ways. Perhaps our relationship with time is similar. On the surface, we are bound by its ticking clock, but as we descend into the layers of existence, through dreams, reflection, and perhaps even death, we encounter a reality where time is no longer the master. In these depths, we may find a truer sense of who we are, unbound by the limitations of past and future. Time, then, is both an anchor and an illusion. It shapes our reality, yet it dissolves when we look closely. It is the river we wade through in waking life, the thread that weaves our stories together. But it is also the thread that unravels in dreams and in the quantum realm, revealing glimpses of a timeless existence beneath. Take a moment to reflect on your own experience of time. How does it shape your reality? How does it bend and twist in moments of joy, sorrow, or anticipation? And what might you find if you let go of the clock and journey deeper into the layers of who you are? What lies beyond the boundaries of our existence? Our lives are framed by two profound events, birth and death. These moments mark the beginning and end of what we perceive as reality. Birth is an entrance into time and space, a crossing into the world of breath, light, and sound. Death, on the other hand, is a departure, an enigmatic transition that returns us to the unknown. Yet these boundaries, birth and death, are shrouded in mystery. What happens before we are born, and what becomes of us after we die? Are these limits as final as they seem, or are they merely doorways to a greater existence? To explore these questions, we must confront our deepest fears and hopes, examining life not as a finite journey, but as a fleeting episode within a much larger continuum. From the moment we are born, we are thrust into the flow of time. The first breath we take connects us to the rhythm of life, setting in motion the processes that sustain our physical existence. We open our eyes and begin to perceive a world that seems external and objective, a reality governed by the rules of space and time. But what is this moment of birth? Is it truly a beginning, or is it the continuation of something that existed before? Many ancient philosophies suggest that life does not begin at birth, but is part of an eternal cycle. Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, describe reincarnation, a continuous journey of the soul through different forms and lifetimes. The individual self is seen not as a singular event, but as a manifestation of a timeless essence. Modern science offers a different perspective. Neuroscientists suggest that consciousness emerges gradually as the brain develops, shaped by genetics and environmental stimuli. In this view, birth is the spark that ignites individuality, a moment when the self begins to coalesce from the raw material of biology and experience. But even this scientific understanding leaves unanswered questions. Where does this consciousness come from? Why does it arise at all? If birth is the spark, death is the extinguishing of the flame, or so it seems. For many, death is the ultimate boundary, the point beyond which existence ceases. The physical body decays, the heart stops beating, and the mind falls silent. To those who remain, death is a moment of loss, a rupture in the fabric of life. But is death truly an end? Or is it a transition, a return to something deeper? Across cultures and epochs, humans have grappled with these questions, imagining afterlives, reincarnations, and eternal souls. From the Egyptian Book of the Dead to Christian notions of heaven and hell, death is often seen not as a conclusion, but as a doorway to another state of being. Modern science complicates this narrative. Near-death experiences, for example, have been reported by individuals who claim to have glimpsed something beyond death. A light, a tunnel, a sense of unity and peace. While skeptics attribute these experiences to neurological phenomena, their universality raises intriguing questions. Could death, like sleep and dreams, be a gateway to a deeper reality? What unites birth and death is their relationship to time, or more precisely, their transcendence of it. Before we are born, time does not exist for us. After we die, it ceases to matter. In both cases, the self is absent from the flow of moments that define waking reality. This timelessness suggests that life, as we know it, is an interruption, a brief sojourn in the realm of time and space. To borrow from our earlier metaphors, reality is like a shadow cast by something greater, a projection of a higher dimensional truth. Birth is the moment we step into the shadow, and death is the moment we step out of it. Let us return to the whale. In its journey between the depths and the surface, the whale illustrates the cycle of existence. Its need to surface for air mirrors our entry into reality at birth, a moment of necessity and transformation. And when the whale dives back into the depths, it is not an end, but a return to its natural state. Similarly, our lives might be moments of surfacing, brief episodes in a much larger existence. Birth and death, then, are not opposites but complementary transitions, movements within the same cycle. Just as the whale carries the ocean within it, even at the surface, we carry the timeless within us, even in the realm of time. Birth and death are profound mysteries, yet they are also ordinary, universal experiences. They shape the arc of our lives, giving structure to our stories and meaning to our existence. But they are not the whole story. Like the surface and the depths, time and timelessness, these boundaries are part of a greater cycle, one that we glimpse in dreams, in moments of transcendence, and perhaps even in death itself. Take a moment to reflect on the boundaries of your own life. How do birth and death shape your understanding of who you are? What lies beyond these thresholds? And what might you find if you dared to explore the timeless truths they conceal? Are reality and dreams separate, or are they two sides of the same coin? In waking life, we see reality as fixed, external, and measurable, a world governed by rules and structure. Dreams, on the other hand, feel fluid, internal, and boundless, a realm of imagination where anything is possible. But what if this division is an illusion? What if reality and dreams are interconnected, each reflecting and shaping the other? In this chapter, we explore the profound relationship between waking reality and the dream state, examining how they influence, mirror, and merge with one another. This interconnectedness may hold the key to understanding not just who we are, but the deeper truths of existence. Have you ever woken from a dream and, for a fleeting moment, been unsure whether you were still dreaming, or experienced déjà vu, a sudden sense that what is happening has happened before, as if reality is repeating itself? These moments reveal a curious truth. The boundary between waking and dreaming is not as solid as it seems. Neurologists suggest that the brain's activity during dreams is remarkably similar to its activity during waking life. The same neural networks fire, the same regions light up. The difference lies not in the brain's activity, but in our awareness of it. In waking life, we process sensory input from the external world. In dreams, the input comes from within, yet the mind does not distinguish between the two. To the brain, both are real. This blurring of boundaries raises profound questions. If the brain perceives dreams and reality in similar ways, what does that say about the nature of reality itself? Could our waking world be, in some sense, a dream, a construction of the mind shaped by perception, memory, and imagination? Reality and dreams do not merely coexist, they interact. What we experience in waking life shapes our dreams, and what we encounter in dreams influences how we perceive reality. This feedback loop is most apparent in times of emotional upheaval. A stressful day can manifest as a restless night filled with vivid, unsettling dreams. Conversely, a powerful dream can leave a lingering impression, coloring our thoughts and feelings long after we wake. Consider the phenomenon of lucid dreaming, in which the dreamer becomes aware of the dream and gains control over its narrative. Lucid dreaming challenges the idea that dreams are passive experiences. Instead, they become active engagements, a space where the dreamer can explore, create, and reflect. Could reality too be shaped in this way? Are we, in some sense, lucid dreamers in our waking lives, influencing the world through our choices and perceptions? In many ways, dreams are a mirror held up to waking life. They reflect our fears, desires, and unresolved conflicts, often in symbolic or exaggerated forms. Freud believed that dreams reveal the subconscious, expressing thoughts and emotions we cannot face in waking life. Jung expanded on this idea, suggesting that dreams connect us to a collective unconscious, a shared pool of symbols and archetypes that transcend the individual. But dreams are not merely reflections, they are also revelations. They allow us to see reality from new angles, to approach problems with fresh eyes. History is filled with stories of breakthroughs that came in dreams. Einstein's theory of relativity, Kekule's discovery of the benzene ring, and countless works of art and literature. In this sense, dreams are not just mirrors, but windows, portals to new ways of thinking and being. If dreams reflect reality, the reverse is also true. Our waking lives are shaped by the dreams we carry, our aspirations, hopes, and visions for the future. These dreams inspire action, drive innovation, and give meaning to our existence. They are the seeds from which reality grows. But this interplay goes deeper. Quantum mechanics suggests that reality itself may be influenced by observation, a phenomenon known as the observer effect. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of superposition, occupying multiple possibilities until observed. Could this suggest that reality is, in some sense, shaped by the act of dreaming? Are we not just participants in the waking world, but co-creators, weaving the fabric of reality through our perceptions and intentions? Let us return to the whale. At the surface, the whale breathes. Its interaction with the air sustains its physical existence. But when it dives, it enters a world of fluidity and depth, where the currents carry it to new places, revealing unseen wonders. These two states, the surface and the depths, are not separate but interconnected, each essential to the whale's life. Similarly, reality and dreams are part of the same cycle. Reality is the surface where we engage with the tangible, the measurable. Dreams are the depths where we explore the intangible, the infinite. Just as the whale must return to the surface to breathe, we must wake to engage with reality. But the insights gained in the depths sustain us, shaping how we live and who we become. Reality and dreams are not opposites, they are partners in an eternal dance. Together, they shape our understanding of existence, offering glimpses of both the finite and the infinite, the known and the unknown. By exploring their interconnectedness, we begin to see that who we are is not confined to one or the other, but exists in the space between. Take a moment to reflect on your last dream and your last waking moment of wonder. How did they influence each other? What truths did they reveal, and what questions did they leave unanswered? Consider how reality and dreams intertwine in the fabric of your existence, shaping not just your perceptions but your very self. Is the universe a singular entity or a web of infinite connections? At first glance, reality appears fragmented. We see ourselves as separate individuals, distinct from one another and from the world around us. But beneath this surface lies a deeper truth. Everything in existence is interconnected, woven together by an invisible fabric that transcends time, space, and perception. The quantum world is a place of paradoxes, a realm where particles behave like waves, where matter can exist in multiple states simultaneously, and where the simple act of observation changes reality. At this level, the boundaries that define our everyday lives blur, revealing a universe that is deeply interconnected. One of the most profound phenomena in quantum mechanics is entanglement. When two particles become entangled, their states remain linked, no matter how far apart they are. A change in one particle instantaneously affects the other, defying the limitations of space and time. This suggests that the universe is not a collection of isolated parts, but a single, unified whole, a web of connections that binds all things together. To illustrate this interconnectedness, let us return to the metaphor of the sphere and the mandala. Imagine the universe as a three-dimensional sphere composed of intricate, interconnected polygons. When illuminated, this sphere casts a shadow on a flat surface, a mandala, beautiful but incomplete. The mandala represents the patterns we perceive in the physical world, a projection of the deeper structure from which it arises. This projection reminds us of our limited perspective. As beings bound by time and space, we see only the shadow, interpreting its patterns through the lens of our own experience. But the true nature of the sphere, the interconnected web of reality, remains hidden from view. The patterns we observe are not separate from the whole, but expressions of it, threads in the greater fabric of existence. This idea of unity is not confined to the quantum realm. It resonates through philosophy, spirituality, and even biology. Eastern traditions like Buddhism and Taoism have long emphasized the interconnectedness of all things, describing reality as a seamless web where every action ripples outward, affecting the whole. The concept of dependent origination in Buddhism, for instance, suggests that nothing exists independently. Everything arises in relation to everything else. Modern science echoes this view. In ecology, for example, ecosystems are seen as intricate networks where each organism depends on and influences others. A single bee pollinating a flower contributes to a cycle that sustains entire ecosystems. Similarly, in neuroscience, the brain is understood as a network of connections, where no single neuron functions in isolation. These patterns of dependence, interaction, and reciprocity reflect the interconnectedness of reality itself. The whale, once again, provides a metaphor for this interconnectedness. As it moves through the ocean, it is not separate from its environment, but an integral part of it. The currents it navigates, the plankton it consumes, the waves it surfaces to breathe, all are connected in a cycle that sustains both the whale and the ocean. The whale's existence is not solitary, but intertwined with a vast, unseen network of life beneath the waves. Similarly, we are not isolated beings, but part of a larger whole. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the thoughts we share, all are threads in the fabric of existence. Our actions ripple outward, affecting others in ways we may never fully comprehend. And just as the whale depends on the ocean, we depend on the interconnected web of reality that sustains us. If everything is connected, what role do we play in shaping this web? Quantum mechanics suggests that observation itself influences reality, a phenomenon known as the observer effect. At the quantum level, particles exist in a state of superposition, occupying multiple possibilities until observed. In this way, the act of observation collapses the wave function, transforming potential into reality. This idea has profound implications. If observation shapes reality, then we are not passive participants, but active co-creators of the universe. Our perceptions, choices, and intentions weave the fabric of existence, influencing not just our own lives, but the interconnected whole. The fabric of interconnection invites us to reconsider who we are and how we relate to the world. We are not isolated fragments, but threads in a vast, intricate tapestry. A tapestry that includes not just ourselves, but everything in existence. To see this tapestry is to glimpse the deeper truth of reality, one that transcends boundaries and distinctions. Take a moment to reflect on your place in this web of connections. How do your actions ripple outward? How do the threads of your life weave into the larger fabric of existence? And what might you discover if you embrace this interconnectedness not as an abstract idea, but as a lived reality? Who am I? Am I the sum of my memories, the spark of my consciousness, or something greater? The question of the self is one of humanity's oldest and most profound inquiries. Throughout history, philosophers, scientists, and spiritual seekers have grappled with its meaning. What is the I that perceives, feels, and thinks? Is the self an illusion, a construct of the mind? Or is it the core of our being, a timeless essence that transcends time and space? This chapter explores the nature of the self, weaving together ideas from neuroscience, philosophy, and metaphor to illuminate one of life's most enduring mysteries. On the surface, the self appears simple and singular. We think of ourselves as discrete entities, distinct from others and the world around us. Yet this sense of separateness begins to unravel under closer scrutiny. Neuroscience tells us that the brain constructs the self through processes that integrate sensory input, memory, and emotion. In this view, the self is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic pattern, a narrative woven by the brain to make sense of experience. Buddhist philosophy takes this idea further, suggesting that the self is an illusion. According to the doctrine of anatta, non-self, what we call I is a collection of impermanent elements, thoughts, sensations, and perceptions that arise and fade away. The self, in this view, is like a river, ever-changing, with no fixed core. This perspective challenges our understanding of identity. If the self is not a stable I, then who are we? Are we simply the stories we tell ourselves, the memories we cling to, the roles we play? If the self is not separate, it must be connected. As we explored in the previous chapter, all things are part of an interconnected fabric. The self, too, is a thread in this web, shaped by relationships, culture, and environment. From the air we breathe to the language we speak, our existence depends on the world around us. Consider the metaphor of the whale and the ocean. The whale, though a distinct being, is inseparable from its environment. Its life is sustained by the ocean's currents, its food sourced from the depths. In the same way, our sense of self arises from and is sustained by the world we inhabit. The I cannot exist in isolation. It is a ripple in the vast ocean of existence. While the self may not be fixed, it is also not singular. Instead, it can be seen as a layered entity with different aspects emerging in different contexts. In waking life, the self is anchored in the body and shaped by external interactions. But in dreams, the self becomes fluid, unconstrained by physical limitations. And in moments of transcendence, through meditation, art, or deep reflection, the self seems to dissolve altogether, merging with something greater. This layered nature of the self reflects the broader structure of reality. Just as reality consists of surface and depth, so too does the self. At its surface, it is the I that engages with the world, the persona we present to others. But beneath this surface lies the subconscious, the hidden aspects of the self that influence our thoughts and actions. And deeper still may lie a core essence, call it soul, spirit, or consciousness, that connects us to the timeless and the infinite. To question the self is to confront the role of memory. We often define ourselves by our past, our experiences, relationships, and achievements. But what happens when memory fades? People with conditions like amnesia or dementia lose access to their memories, yet they remain themselves in some essential way. This suggests that the self is not synonymous with memory, but something more fundamental. Philosophers like John Locke argued that personal identity is rooted in continuity of memory, our ability to recall past experiences and link them to the present. But others, like David Hume, believed that the self is an illusion, a bundle of sensations and perceptions with no underlying substance. Modern neuroscience offers a middle ground, suggesting that while memory shapes the narrative of the self, consciousness itself may be the true foundation. Let us return to the metaphor of shadows and dimensions. If the self we perceive is a shadow on the wall, then the true self must exist in a higher dimension, unseen but ever present. Like the mandala projected by a sphere, the self we experience is a reflection of something greater, a simplified representation of a more complex reality. In dreams, meditation, or moments of profound insight, we may catch glimpses of this higher dimensional self. These glimpses remind us that we are more than the stories we tell ourselves, more than the patterns of thought and sensation that shape our waking lives. They invite us to look beyond the shadow and seek the source. The nature of the self is both a mystery and a mirror, reflecting the complexities of existence. It is at once an illusion and a truth, a fleeting narrative and a timeless essence. To ask, "Who am I?" is to embark on a journey of discovery, one that takes us from the surface of reality to the depths of being. Take a moment to ask yourself, who are you beyond your name, your memories, your roles? What lies beneath the surface of your identity? And what might you find if you looked beyond the shadow and into the light? What lies beyond the flow of moments we call time? Time governs our reality. It measures the arc of our lives, the rhythm of our days, and the passing of all things. Yet, as we've seen, time is not as fixed or absolute as it appears. In dreams, time bends. In the quantum realm, it becomes fluid. But what happens when we step beyond time altogether? What does it mean to exist in a state of timelessness? And how might such a state reveal the true nature of reality? This chapter explores the concept of timelessness, drawing on metaphors, scientific theories, and philosophical reflections to examine what lies beyond the ticking clock. Time feels unyielding in everyday life. It marches forward, dragging us with it. We measure our lives in its increments, birthdays, anniversaries, deadlines, marking its passage like ticks on a ruler. Yet, time also feels intangible. We cannot touch it, hold it, or even define it with certainty. What then is time? Physicist Carlo Rovelli offers one perspective in his book, The Order of Time. He describes time as an emergent property, not a fundamental aspect of the universe. At the quantum level, the concept of time breaks down. Events are not ordered in a neat sequence, but exist in a web of relationships. This challenges our intuitive understanding of time as linear and absolute, suggesting instead that it is a construct, a way for the human mind to make sense of change. In dreams, time becomes malleable. A single dream may span years or unfold in a fleeting instant. Events occur out of sequence. Memories blend with imagination, and the distinction between past and future dissolves. Dreams offer a glimpse of timelessness, a state where time loses its grip, and existence is experienced as a fluid continuum. This timeless quality of dreams invites us to question whether time, as we perceive it in waking life, is real or simply a construct of the mind. If the brain can create a timeless experience in dreams, could it be that timelessness is the deeper reality, with time itself as the illusion? Beyond the dream state, timelessness emerges in the realms of physics and cosmology. In Einstein's theory of relativity, time is not a constant but a variable, influenced by speed and gravity. Near a black hole, for example, time slows to a crawl, while for a photon traveling at the speed of light, time does not exist at all. At the quantum level, the distinction between past, present, and future blurs even further. The Wheeler-DeWitt equation, a concept in quantum gravity, describes the universe as timeless, a state where all possibilities exist simultaneously. This idea aligns with the notion of a block universe, where time is not a flowing river but a static landscape, with all events existing simultaneously. Timelessness is not just a concept for physicists, It is also a profound aspect of human consciousness. In moments of deep meditation, artistic creation, or intense focus, time seems to disappear. These experiences, often described as flow states, suggest that the mind has the ability to transcend time, experiencing existence in a pure, unbounded way. Spiritual traditions, too, speak of timelessness. In Hindu philosophy, the concept of Brahman, the ultimate reality, is described as eternal and beyond time. Similarly, in mystical Christianity, God is often understood as existing outside of time, encompassing all of creation in an eternal now. Let us return to the metaphor of shadows and dimensions. If time is a shadow on the wall of the cave, then timelessness is the light that casts it. We perceive time as a sequence of moments, just as the prisoners in Plato's cave perceive shadows as reality. But if we step beyond the cave, if we move into the light, we may glimpse the timeless essence that underlies all things. Imagine once again the sphere casting a shadow. The shadow changes as the sphere moves, creating patterns that seem dynamic and fleeting. But the sphere itself remains unchanged, timeless in its form. Could timelessness be the sphere, the true reality from which time's shifting patterns emerge? The whale's journey offers another perspective. When it surfaces, the whale moves through time, synchronized with the rhythms of breath and light. But in the depths, where the currents flow slowly and the surface world fades away, the whale enters a realm that feels timeless. Its existence becomes part of the ocean's ancient cycles, a rhythm that transcends the moment-to-moment flow of the surface. Similarly, our moments of timelessness, whether in dreams, meditation, or contemplation, are glimpses of a deeper rhythm, an eternal truth beneath the surface of time. They remind us that while we move through time in our waking lives, we are also part of something timeless, something infinite. Timelessness challenges us to rethink who we are and what reality is. It invites us to look beyond the ticking clock, the passing years, and the finite arc of life. In doing so, we may discover a deeper truth, one that transcends the boundaries of time and reveals our connection to the infinite. Take a moment to reflect on your own experience of timelessness. Have you ever felt a moment stretch into eternity, or found yourself lost in a timeless flow? What might these experiences reveal about the nature of reality and your place within it, beyond the boundaries of time? Is reality something we perceive or something we create? Throughout this journey, we have explored the layers beneath what we call reality: dreams, time, interconnectedness, and the self. But what if reality itself is a construct, a projection shaped by our minds, our perceptions, and the hidden dimensions that we can only glimpse? Our senses tell us that reality is external, objective, and independent of our perception. But science and philosophy suggest otherwise. Neuroscience shows that what we experience as reality is not a direct representation of the external world, but a construction of the brain. The mind takes raw sensory data, light waves, sound vibrations, chemical signals, and assembles them into a coherent picture of the world. Consider color. We see a red apple not because redness exists in the apple, but because our brain interprets the wavelengths of light reflected by its surface as red. Similarly, the sounds we hear are not inherent in objects, but are vibrations translated by our auditory system. Reality, then, is not something we see, it is something we perceive. This constructed nature of reality raises profound questions. If the brain can create the experience of color, sound, and texture, could it also create the experience of time, space, and self? And if so, how much of what we call reality is truly real? Imagine a beam of light passing through a series of lenses and filters. Each layer alters the light, shaping the final image projected onto a screen. Our experience of reality may work in a similar way, with each layer of consciousness, perception, and cognition adding its own distortions and interpretations. At the surface layer, we see the waking world, a world of solid objects, measurable distances, and linear time. Beneath this layer lies the dream world, where time bends, objects shift, and logic falters. Deeper still lies the subconscious, a realm of symbols and archetypes, and at the foundation may lie the quantum realm, a world of probabilities and interconnectedness. What we experience as reality is the final projection, shaped and filtered by these layers. Like shadows on the wall of a cave, it is a flattened representation of a multi-dimensional truth. Our beliefs and expectations further shape our reality. Studies in psychology reveal that what we expect to see influences what we perceive. This phenomenon, known as perceptual priming, shows that the mind is not a passive observer, but an active participant in creating reality. Consider the placebo effect. Patients who believe they are receiving effective treatment often experience real improvements, even when the treatment is inert. This demonstrates the power of belief to shape not just perception, but physical reality itself. Could this principle extend beyond the individual, influencing the collective reality we all share? One of the most provocative ideas in modern philosophy and science is the simulation hypothesis, popularized by thinkers like Nick Bostrom and Elon Musk. This theory suggests that reality itself might be a computer simulation, a highly sophisticated construct designed by an advanced intelligence. While the simulation hypothesis remains speculative, it raises fascinating questions about the nature of reality. If our universe is a construct, what lies beyond it? Who or what created the simulation? And how does this idea intersect with ancient philosophical notions of reality as an illusion, such as the Hindu concept of Maya? Let us return to the metaphor of the sphere and the mandala. The mandala, the shadow cast by the sphere, is intricate and beautiful, but it is not the sphere itself. It is a projection shaped by the light, the sphere's geometry, and the surface onto which it is cast. To understand the mandala fully, we must look beyond it to its source. Similarly, our experience of reality is a mandala, a projection shaped by the layers of perception, cognition, and consciousness. To understand reality, we must look beyond the surface, tracing its patterns back to the deeper truths that shape it. The whale, too, offers insight into this constructed nature of reality. At the surface, the whale breathes, interacting with the external world. But beneath the surface, it moves through the depths, navigating a world defined by currents, pressure, and unseen forces. These two worlds, the surface and the depths, are not separate but interconnected, shaping the whale's experience of reality. For us, reality is similarly layered. The waking world is the surface we inhabit, but beneath it lies the depths of dreams, the subconscious, and the quantum realm. These layers are not separate but part of the same whole, shaping the reality we experience and the self that perceives it. To see reality as a construct is not to dismiss it as unreal, but to recognize its complexity. Our experience of the world is shaped by perception, belief, and the layers of existence that underlie it. By exploring these layers, we can begin to see reality not as a fixed external truth, but as a dynamic, multi-dimensional tapestry, a shadow of something greater. If reality is a projection, what lies beyond it? Our journey has taken us through the layers of existence: dreams, time, interconnectedness, the self, and the constructed nature of reality. Each layer has revealed something profound about who we are and the world we inhabit. But what lies beyond these layers? Is there a final truth, a source from which all things emerge? Or is the quest for understanding itself infinite, an endless unraveling of mysteries? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, watching the waves crash against the shore. The waves are reality, ever-changing, dynamic and immediate. But beneath the waves lies the ocean's depth, a source that feeds their motion yet remains unseen. Could the layers we've explored, time, dreams, the self, be like these waves, with their source lying in an unseen depth? Philosophers and spiritual traditions often speak of this ultimate source. In Hinduism, it is Brahman, the infinite and eternal essence that underlies all existence. In Taoism, it is the Tao, the unnameable way of the universe. In science, it might be the quantum field, the foundation from which all matter and energy arise. Each of these ideas points to the same truth. Beneath the layers of reality lies something infinite, timeless, and all-encompassing. But how can we comprehend what lies beyond the layers when our perception is bound by them? Like the prisoners in Plato's cave, we see only shadows on the wall, projections of a deeper reality we cannot fully grasp. Our senses, our minds, even our languages are tools for navigating the surface, not for understanding the depths. This limitation does not render the quest futile. Rather, it invites us to embrace mystery. To seek what lies beyond the layers is not to find final answers, but to expand our perspective, to move closer to truths that are felt rather than fully understood. The idea of infinity has long fascinated humanity. In mathematics, infinity represents a concept without end, a number that cannot be reached. In cosmology, it describes the boundless expanse of the universe. And in philosophy, it speaks to the nature of existence itself. What if reality is infinite? What if every layer we uncover reveals another and another in an endless unfolding of mysteries? This idea can feel overwhelming, even unsettling, but it can also be liberating. If reality has no end, then the search for truth is not a race to a finish line, but a journey without bounds, an exploration that invites us to grow, evolve, and expand. Let us return to the metaphor of shadows and dimensions one last time. The shadow on the wall is not the final truth, but a reflection, a clue pointing to the source. The light that casts the shadow represents something beyond the layers, something we cannot see directly, but can sense through its effects. To seek what lies beyond the layers is to turn toward this light, not with the expectation of seeing it fully, but with the willingness to let it illuminate our understanding. It is an act of humility and wonder, an acknowledgement that the greatest truths may always remain just beyond our reach. The whale too offers a final insight. Its journey between the surface and the depths reminds us that existence is cyclical, layered, and interconnected. But what lies at the very bottom of the ocean? The whale does not know. It does not need to. Its life is not defined by reaching the deepest point, but by navigating the currents, finding sustenance, and returning to the surface to breathe. In the same way, our lives are defined not by answering every question, but by engaging with the mystery, finding meaning in the journey, and returning again and again to the deeper truths that sustain us. The infinite question, what lies beyond the layers, is one we may never fully answer, but the act of asking, of seeking, is itself transformative. It expands our understanding, deepens our connection to the world, and reminds us of the vastness of existence. Take a moment to reflect on your own journey. What questions drive you? What truths have you glimpsed, and what mysteries remain? As we conclude this exploration, consider not what you have found, but what you have become. For in seeking the infinite, you are part of it. I do not want to be misunderstood. Throughout this book, I have thrown countless what-ifs at you, exploring layers of existence, time, and consciousness. But let me be clear. I am not detached from the reality we live in. I am deeply grounded in it. While writing these pages, I consumed copious amounts of coffee, took walks to the restroom, and, on one occasion, slipped on the kitchen floor near the water dispenser, landing on my backside with an undignified thud. Pain reminded me, quite humorously and profoundly, that reality is imminently present. It is inescapable. It is. I have 3 daughters. I was there in the hospital for each of their births, witnessing the indescribable wonder of life entering this world. Each moment was a cosmic punctuation in my life's narrative, a profound reminder that my existence is intertwined with theirs. These children are not only my legacy, they are the reason I exist, the anchor that gives my life meaning. Now, nearing 50 years old, I find myself contemplating the end. Not obsessively, but naturally. I no longer feel invincible as I did in my youth. Death, once a distant concept, now feels like an inevitable truth. It's unsettling, but also grounding. I don't want my story to end. None of us do. But we know it must. Every adventure, every book has its final page. It's instinctual to resist that ending, to hope for something more. Perhaps that instinct is hardwired into us, a product of evolution, or perhaps it is a whisper of something greater. I think about these questions often. Was it all? Does everything that makes me simply vanish? Unbound by religious doctrines, I am free to see life as an adventure, an exploration of the unknown. Every birth and every death reminds me that I am part of a cycle far greater than myself, a cycle of beginnings and endings, of transformations and continuations. This is where the metaphors come alive for me, the whale diving into the ocean's depths and surfacing for air, the sandwich consumed and transformed into the energy that sustains us, the shadow on the wall hinting at dimensions beyond our comprehension. These ideas are not just intellectual exercises. They are ways of grappling with the most profound truths of existence. They help me understand that everything I am comes from a realm beyond my understanding, from what we might call the quantum fabric of the universe. And so I ask myself, am I part of that fabric? Am I the fabric itself? Am I the universe? Perhaps I am. Or perhaps I am just a shadow of something greater, a reflection of a higher dimensional truth, an entity beyond my grasp. Who am I? This question can just as easily become, what am I? It is a simple phrase, 3 words, yet it represents a truth too vast to comprehend in a single lifetime. Or does it? I do not know. I leave you with this. Life is an adventure, an unfolding story. And like every story, it has its climaxes, its mundane moments, and its inevitable conclusion. But perhaps the story continues beyond the final page in ways we cannot yet imagine. I don't have the answers, but I am honored to have shared the questions with you. The end.
Thank you for listening to Who Am I? By Sasha Schmidt. We hope you enjoyed this journey into science and philosophy. If you'd like to explore more timeless stories, be sure to visit our channel, where you'll find a wide selection of audiobooks ranging from science fiction to adventure, non-fiction, documentary, and more. If you enjoyed this audiobook, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment letting us know which stories you'd like to hear next. Your engagement helps us continue to bring classic literature to life for listeners like you. Visit our channel page to discover more great audiobooks that may pique your interest. Thank you again for listening, and we look forward to having you with us on our next adventure.